So today, February 15th at 1:30 p.m., there is an important hearing. The state of Nebraska has a bill, LB 1305. So LB 1305 was introduced by Senator Ben Hansen from Nebraska on January 17th, and then there was a notice of the hearing on February 8th, so last Thursday. So basically we had a week's notice on this, so that's why we're a little bit delayed on getting this information out there. But LB 1305 would simply cause taxpayers to back out of any gains or losses on the sales of gold and silver reported on federal tax returns. So Nebraska rightfully exempted sales tax in 2014, and removing income tax from precious metals is the next logical step, according to Ben Hansen. Obviously, we agree. So this would eliminate basically a double tax. So currently, Nebraska tax law, they assess tax on imaginary gains. So any taxpayers who sells precious metals would end up with a capital gains tax in terms of Federal Reserve notes. This capital gain is not necessarily a real gain. It's often a nominal gain that results from inflation created from the Federal Reserve and the attendant decline in the dollar's purchasing power. So nominal gain is taxed at the federal level, and because Nebraska uses federal adjusted gross income as a starting point for Nebraska income calculations, the nominal gain is taxed by the state. Taxing imaginary gains is harmful to citizens attempting to protect their assets. Investments in precious metals, coins, and bullion are rightly exempt from Nebraska state sales tax. Neutralizing Nebraska's income tax treatment of the monetary metal would remove the last major disincentive in Nebraska that stands against the ownership and use of monetary metals, gold and silver. Then incentivize policies that penalize savers in precious metals, reduce the likelihood that Nebraska citizens will take prudent steps to insulate themselves from inflation and financial turmoil caused by Congress and the Federal Reserve. LB 1305 also confirms that Nebraska does not recognize central bank digital currencies as money and prohibits a United States Federal Reserve digital currency to the extent one is created. This bill would also update the definition of bullion. It adds coins, notes, leaf, foil, film to what can be considered bullion. By passing this bill, Nebraska would join several other states in ending income taxation of the only form of money mentioned in the U.S. Constitution. Wyoming, Arizona, Utah have already passed similar capital gains exemption measures. Georgia, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa are considering such measures right now. So please, what you can do to help on this, in the description and comment box, you can go and comment online why you feel this is important. And if you have any questions or concerns on this, you can certainly send an email to coinhuskers@gmail.com, and we can, just send you information on this bill, just what we read here. But we will have this in the comment box and description so you can read all this information yourself. So this information that I just read was from Senator Ben Hansen, but just to comment on this briefly myself, this bill would be huge for multiple reasons. I mean, I've been in 3 different states just to get around sales tax, and we obviously moved to Nebraska in 2014 after we got the sales tax passed, and the state almost put sales tax back on gold and silver in 2019, and I was only one of 3 dealers that fought this, and only one of those dealers currently is even still in business. So it's very important that we can get this information out there and just educate people further so they're not being double taxed. So give me an example. We've had several people last year or just even recently that sold us 7-figure amounts, and they bought these product anywhere from possibly 30 to 40 years ago, which would result in possibly a 7-figure capital gains tax. So this bill would be gigantic for the state and just send a big message to other states around the United States that double taxation on precious metals, that the only form mentioned in the Constitution and Center that Ben Hansen stated, that this would help to be able to keep transactions private and encourage more people to invest in precious metal to protect themselves from the obvious debasement of the purchasing power of Federal Reserve notes by the Federal Reserve.